Hello everybody, I am Professor Rekha Sapkal. Our plan is to discuss suction evacuation today and all the instruments regarding this operation we will discuss. Suction evacuation is an emergency or a planned procedure. It is a minor operation done for completion of the abortion purpose in the first trimester till 10 to 12 weeks of pregnancy. In these cases, the os is dilated to permit the instrument inside. The os is dilated with the dilators. So this is how these are the dilators which are used for the dilation purpose. Then the suction cannula is introduced in the uterine cavity. This type of cannula is introduced, which is connected to with the help of a tubing to a suction machine or menstrual regulation syringe or manual vacuum aspiration syringe is used for this purpose. And lastly, the cavity is curated with the blunt curate. What are the indications for suction evacuation? Cases where continuation of pregnancy is not feasible, not possible, in these cases suction evacuation is done. What are these cases? Inevitable abortion, incomplete abortion, and failure of medical abortion where abortion is incomplete. In these cases, half of the products are inside and half are left, so they are aspirated with the help of suction evacuation. Second trimester incomplete abortion cases also can be subjected for evacuation where if suction is not feasible with the cannula and suction machine, this type of instrument known as ovum forceps is introduced in the uterine cavity. The products are grasped with the help of this ovum forceps and they are removed. This forceps does not have a catch and the tips are like this. So remember, this instrument is also kept for the examination for the undergraduates and postgraduates both. Then the other cases like missed abortion, septic abortion as a method of first trimester MTP, also suction evacuation can be practiced. So it is a surgical method of MTP. Patients with a vesicular mole, the cavity is emptied with the help of suction. Evacuation is not done in threatened abortion cases. Remember, in threatened abortion, we expect continuation of pregnancy in 90% of the cases and conservative treatment is given. Evacuation is not done in threatened. This procedure is avoided after 12 weeks also because the products are cartilaginous and suction is not effective. The holes of this cannula, they get blocked. And enough dilatation of cervix is not feasible. The blood loss is also excess. There are more chances of perforation also. Avoid the MTP, first trimester MTP in nullipara also. Why? Because the os is tightly closed. There is more risk of perforation with forceful dilatation of the cervix and there is risk of secondary infertility because of sepsis and a tubal block. Other relative contraindications are scarred uterus like previous cesarean section, myomectomy, scar, perforation of uterus. In ectopic pregnancy, treatment is altogether different. So if doubt of ectopic pregnancy, suction evacuation is not the choice of treatment. Patients with invasive mole and vesicular mole, the treatment is different. The evacuation is not done. The treatment of choice is hysterectomy with vesicular mole in situ because there is an invasive mole here. It is a malignancy. Incarcinated gravid, retroverted gravid uterus where there is sacculation of the uterus and risk of perforation is there. The cavity cannot be approached directly, hence avoided in these cases. Very rare condition. Preliminary consent and preparation of the patient is important in all. History of any major illness and drug allergy should be documented. Exact blood loss prior to the procedure is very important to document because with the suction evacuation there is at least about 100 to 150 ml of blood loss. So, if already patient is anemic, then first correct anemia with the help of blood transfusion, or at least arrange for blood transfusion, and during the procedure or after the procedure blood transfusion should be given. IV methergine 0.4 milligram is given if the patient is bleeding profusely and there is time for evacuation. So during the transport of the patient, IV methergine 0.4 milligram will help to control the bleeding. Anti-D-Sera injection 100 to 150 microgram is important in all cases 48 hours prior or within 48 hours after the procedure if the patient is Rh negative and husband is Rh positive. Preoperative preparation is common for all, like total blood count, urine examination, blood group Rh typing. Serological test for hepatitis B and HIV is done in all. Then sensitivity test is very important, should be done in all cases. Injectable antibiotics, preferred one is injection cefixime 250 mg intramuscular or any other antibiotic. Parental use is done. Patient must pass urine prior. The bladder should be empty because the uterus gets deviated to one side if the bladder is full. And the procedure is difficult and introduction of the cannula is difficult and risk of perforation. Tablet misoprost 400 microgram rectal use is preferred prior to the procedure, so that there is little ripening of the cervix and os becomes patulous in these cases. Injection tetanus toxoid booster dose is required in all. Injection atropine because there is risk of vasovagal attack, the pre-medication should be used. The position of the patient is as usual lithotomy position with the hand, legs and support. Clean and drape the patient, operation site. First, the seam speculum is introduced inside the vagina over the posterior wall is retracted. Then, Ehlers tissue forceps is introduced. With the help of Ehlers tissue, catch hold of the cervix. Next, the cervix is dilated with the help of Hagar dilators like this. Hold the dilator in a pen-like fashion and put the dilator only just beyond the internal os. Don't overcross the dilator. So the cervix is dilated serially with the serial dilators. So different sizes of dilators are used one after the other. First I'll put this end, then I can put this end, the other end. So there are different diameters of the different ends. Then next, the suction cannula is introduced, which is connected to a tubing suction tube machine. The to and fro movements of the cannula are done, and simultaneously rotatory movements of the cannula are done intermittently. So if this cannula is inside, the holes are on either side and the tip is blunt. So with that, the products get aspirated. Lastly, after the procedure is complete, the remnants are curated with a blunt curate like this. And then lastly, once more the cannula is introduced and rest of the products are aspirated. This is how the procedure is complete. So the instrument which are used is seam speculum, Ehlers tissue forceps, then dilators are used. These are the different dilators. Then suction cannula is used and the blunt and sharp curate is used for this procedure. So the viva goes on all these instruments. Remember, this is the uterine sound, which is not used for to measure the uterocervical length in the suction evacuation. It is contraindicated because the uterus is soft and there are more chances of perforation with the uterine sound. Hence it is not used. Uterine sound is not used. Uterine sound is used to know the uterocervical length in non-pregnant patients. Like I am doing dilatation and curettage, DNC for infertility, tuberculosis. There uterine sound is used to measure the uterocervical length. This instrument is also used in cases of prior to the introduction of IUCD to know the exact uterocervical length, but not used in during suction evacuation. Okay. Then cervix is dilated with the Hagar dilators. Hawking-Ambler dilators are the other types of dilators which are little sharp at the tip. So they cause perforation of uterus. They are used in gynae cases. And these are the Hagar dilators. They are used for a pregnant patient. Okay. The dilator should be held in the pen-like fashion this way, and it should be introduced. The dilator should go just beyond the internal os, up to here itself. Should not overcross it. Other precautions: plastic cannula is preferred because it is flexible and there is less chance of perforation, and it is transparent also, so I can know whether the products are coming and blood, how much is the blood loss during the procedure, I can estimate. Suction cannula of specific size is preferred because it should fit snugly into the cervix and free movement should be possible, and vacuum should be disconnected when I am withdrawing the cannula out. Alternative to suction machine can be menstrual regulation syringe or manual vacuum aspiration syringe that we have discussed. For the products which get stuck inside the cannula, in those cases alternative ovum forceps is used. This type of forceps is available. It doesn't have a catch, so that tip of the instrument, observe it carefully. It is used to remove the placental pieces or leftover pieces during evacuation from the uterine cavity. Especially it is required in second trimester abortion, incomplete abortion cases where fetus is out but the placental pieces are retained inside. So this instrument is usually kept for the viva. The name of the instrument is ovum forceps. After removing the products, lastly the cavity is curated with a blunt curate. So this is the blunt part of the curate. The cavity is curated, and lastly the samples can be sent for genetic study or histopathological examination in cases of vesicular mole. During the procedure, how to know that the procedure is complete? Gritty sensation will be felt to the cannula when I am doing the suction evacuation. No more products will come out through the cannula. Air bubbles will be seen through the cannula passing. The os will be tight. The grip of the os will be tight here, and bleeding will get controlled. So that is how I can make out that the procedure is complete and I have to stop the procedure. Post-operative antibiotics should be, drug of choice should be doxycycline, and investigate the lady if she is a case of spontaneous abortion for the reason for abortion like diabetes, APLA, urine tract infection. Patients of cervical incompetence should be managed specifically. Contraception advice can be done, or even copper T can be introduced simultaneously. Patient can use injectable contraceptives like DMP or Niten also. Combined oral contraceptives are contraindicated in lactating mothers for first 6 months. Thereafter, they can use once the lactation is established. What is the treatment of incomplete evacuation? Usually the diagnosis, and how do you diagnose it? Usually the diagnosis is done by sonography, or the patient will give the history of painful bleeding and pain in abdomen, lower abdomen pain. History of passing products and clots will also be there. Urinary symptoms are sometimes seen in these cases. She may have episode of fever within 24 hours after evacuation in case the sepsis has occurred. So these patients, they are treated with suction evacuation, repeat suction evacuation, or it is also known as check curettage is done. Complications like excess of hemorrhage can occur during the procedure. there is a risk of perforation of uterus, especially if it is acutely anteverted, then injury to the posterior wall of uterus is the risk, and if the uterus is retroverted, then the injury to the anterior wall of uterus is the risk. Then injury to cervical injury and its complications like cervical incompetence can occur, and stenosis of cervix can result. Broad ligament hematoma because of injury to the cervix or near the isthmus, then there is chance of broad ligament hematoma. It is a serious complication. There I have to explore the abdomen. Anaphylactic shock if I am using local anesthesia, paracervical, because the procedure can also be done under paracervical block. So if paracervical block is used, there is risk of anaphylactic reaction. Anesthesia complication usual like other operations is the risk. Vasovagal attack is one of the problem because of cervical stimulation and dilatation. For that, pre-medication in the form of atropine is given prior. Late complications are in the form of sepsis, which can land up into PID also. Post-abortion sepsis will cause complete tubal block and secondary infertility. The post-abortion sepsis can cause partial tubal block and ectopic pregnancy. Other rare complications which are usually preventable, like secondary amenorrhea, it is due to vigorous curettage of the residua, and intrauterine adhesions because of repeated MTPs. Sometimes the lady they practice. In these cases, there is risk of intrauterine adhesions and its complications. Cervical incompetence results due to forceful dilatation of the cervix and repeated MTPs, suction evacuation and stenosis of the cervix if there is injury to the cervix when I hold the cervix with the help of Valsalem forceps. Valsalem has got traumatic depth. So Valsalem is avoided with the pregnant uterus. Use the Ellis tissue forceps. This is the Ellis tissue forceps which is used in pregnant uterus to hold the cervix. Avoid the use of Valsalem forceps. What is the treatment of complications like excess of hemorrhage? There, Pitocin 20 to 40 units can be added in the drips simultaneously during the operation, or Misoprostol tablet 400 microgram can be used through rectal route. If there is incomplete evacuation, we have learned repeat evacuation is the treatment. Sometimes they respond to the oxytocics to expel out the products. If they are already in the process of expulsion, they are in the canal, then Misoprostol tablet 200 to 400 microgram can help. Yes, this is very important. Perforation of uterus. For that, the skilled surgeon is required. And remember, how to diagnose is a art to learn. When you are doing the procedure at that time, the instrument can go through and through beyond the limit. And uterine wall resistance is not felt to the instrument. Suppose I am using this cannula, I don't feel the uterine wall to the tip of the cannula. Then I should predict that probably it has gone through and through. There is perforation of uterus. No more products will come out through the cannula. Sometimes if I remove the cannula outside with the suction intact, then along with the cannula, the omentum and the loops of intestine also hang out through the os. Rarely. It's a rare thing, but you should remember, especially after 14 weeks, that is a risk. Active vaginal bleeding is seen sometimes because of the leftover products in the uterine cavity. Ultrasonography confirms the diagnosis where there is free fluid in the peritoneal cavity, and there will be disruption of the wall of the uterus that can be diagnosed with the sonography. What is the treatment? If pulse and blood pressure is settled, there is no pallor, observation is the treatment, conservative treatment. But if the patient, her vitals are not settled, she is in the shock, Immediate laparotomy is required and suture the perforation site with 1-0 Vicryl. If minimal blood loss, laparoscopy can be done to know the status, and repair can be done with the laparoscopy also. Remember, one more thing is, if there is a fundal perforation, it is always better to open and repair it, and simultaneously tubal ligation may be done with the proper consent. It is required because with the next pregnancy there is chance of perforation of rupture of uterus with the first trimester itself. What are the high risk cases for perforation of uterus? Pregnancy itself is a high risk patient. That's true if there are twin pregnancies and vesicular mole and septic abortion. There is a risk of perforation. Risk increases with pregnancy after 12 weeks also. Previous scarred uterus like cesarean section, myomectomy scar, coexistent invasive mole, there are chances of perforation of uterus. And retroversion of uterus, there are more chances of perforation of anterior wall of uterus because the direction is not straight line. The cervix and uterus is not in the straight line. Perforation may occur due to gynecological procedures also like dilatation and curettage in the postmenopausal lady where the uterus is atropic small size. During laparoscopy, when intrauterine manipulations are done, laparoscopic tubal ligation especially. And the other one most important practical method is transcervical endometrial resection for DUB cases, heavy menstrual bleeding cases. There is risk of perforation with the hysteroscope, and hence in these cases it should be done under sonography guidance. How do you prevent the perforation? Bladder should be empty. Forceful dilatation is avoided. Lubricant can be applied to the dilators. Hold the dilator in the pain-like fashion. We have learned this thing. And suction evacuation is preferred over the simple evacuation. And bimanual examination to know the exact size and position of uterus prior to the procedure is very important, and explore the products digitally first. If it is permitting the admission of one finger, then first explore the products first digitally and then go ahead with the evacuation. That can be done. Use of atropine and cerviparine gel, so ripening of the cervix may be done prior. Slow dilatation of cervix is preferred in all cases like use of Foley's catheter with a distender balloon with 10 to 20 ml. Then isabgoldates or laminatines can be used, and oxytocin like pitocin, misoprost is the better choice in all cases 6 hours prior and then go ahead. So it can be done in 2 stages evacuation. 2-stage evacuation is preferred. What is the difference between perforation and rupture of uterus? Perforation means the rent in the uterus is before viability. In rupture uterus, the rent is there after viability. If there is fundal perforation, there is risk of rupture of uterus. Hence, tubectomy should be done in these cases to prevent the next pregnancy event. Thanks for watching the video.